In this presentation, we will enter bank outflows from our bank statement for the month of January with our business account for QuickBooks. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info. Here we are in the home page. We currently have the open windows open. In order to open the open windows, we want to go to the view drop down and select the open windows list. We're now going to open the check register by going to the banking drop down and use register. We want the checking account and OK. Last time we had entered the deposits. We're going to continue entering this time, but this time entering the outflows. So if we go to our bank statement, we had just entered these deposits. We're going to go over here and enter the outflows. The outflows now, we're not going to have a check number. We're going to assume that most of these are going to be electronic transfers. If there's a check number or for written checks, then obviously we can add the check as we enter the data. But the point is that no matter whatever we spent, if it went out of our checking account, then we'll have record of it. We can use the bank statement then to help us to enter the data and or verify the data. We will use it to enter the data in this example. The outflows are going to be more complicated in that the outflows for a business typically are going to be everything that we don't do. So although we hope that the dollar amount will be less than the inflows, we know that there's going to be a lot of different things we pay for. Luckily, with a business account, they're fairly standardized. With the personal records, when we try to record our personal records, the grouping of the accounts are a little bit more complicated. But here for the business account should be fairly straightforward. We're going to take these, we're going to take a look at who we paid and try to figure out the correct account to apply to. Once done for the first month, as we'll see in the second month, this will of course be much easier. QuickBooks then allowing us or being able to memorize part of the transaction that can help us enter it. So we're going to just enter this directly into the register. So the first one happened on January 3rd. So I'm going to say 010320. We don't have a check number. I'm just going to put an E for an electronic transfer. And then the post office is who we paid. So I'm going to put post office. Now this is going to be the first month. So we're going to add all the vendors. Once we do this for the first month, then it should be repetitive for the second month because typically we pay the same types of people over and over. So we'll set this up as we go. I'm going to select tab. We're just going to use the quick setup. I don't need the address and the contact information of the post office. I just want to be able to enter this data into the system. They are a vendor because that is who we are paying. So we're going to say OK. We're going to give it 320. And then the account then, we need to select the account first time we've paid them. Once we select the account, we should be good going forward. The nice thing is because we have a chart of accounts, if we select the drop down, then most of them are going to be in the expenses. And most of the time, if it's the business account, we'll already have an account set up for us, and we'll just have to pick the right one. That's the nice thing, the standardization of business type accounts, which we don't really have so much on the personal side. So I'm just going to pick postage and delivery, say that sounds right, and OK, and we'll set that up. Next item we will have, I'm going to go ahead and highlight that, saying we have done that. That's what the highlight says. So highlight says we've done that. Epiphone, that's going to be our vendor. So we're going to set this up for the next item, which is going to be on the 8th. I'm just hitting the plus arrow till I get to 8. And then it's going to be E again. I'll say E for the check number. And then it's going to be Epiphone. Epiphone. I think that's right. And then tab. New vendor. Epiphone's who we buy our inventory from, which we're going to record this kind of on a cash basis. So that's going to be, we sell guitars. Again, we sell guitars. So we're going to say quick add, and it's going to be a vendor, and we're going to put the 5100. Now we're going to say that we sell these right away, so we're not going to deal with inventory in this problem. So I'm going to select the drop down. We're not going to get into inventory. We're just going to expense it on a cash basis, and I'm going to choose a cost of goods sold type of expense account in order to do so. So I'm going to say purchase and resell items. And that's the one we want, and enter. And we'll continue on with this. Going to go back to our report. Going to highlight that, saying that one is done. and we're going to get into the rental. So here's our rental company that we rent our business office. So that happened on the 8th, and once again E, and it's going to be Sunlight Rentals. New vendor for us. I'm going to select tab. Going to quickly set up the new vendor. That's who we paid. It's going to be a vendor. That's who we paid. The amount's going to be for 1500. Tab. Once again, we have to set up the expense account the first time. It'll be there the next time. And the expense account we want is going to be some type of rent. How about just rent expense? That seems reasonable. Once again, most of the expense accounts are going to be there. If you have to set one up, you can, but just you shouldn't need to set up too many. You really want to, otherwise you're going to have a lot of kind of expense accounts that might be unnecessary. So the guideline for the business accounts at least would be, hey, check and see if it's there. If it's not, then set up the new account. But you want to think first the default is that it probably will be there. And then 115, insurance. So I'm going to go back over here. 115, E, insurance, and we call this, what do we call it? Safe Insurance. This is our insurance company. Tab, quickly set it up. Vendor, and we're going to say that that was for 600. And once again, we got to find some type of insurance here. So we could try to categorize it more specifically in insurance, but I'm just going to pick the general insurance expense category that they have set up here. And okay. Next item, we're going to cross that out or highlight it, and that means we've done that one. AT&T phone company, that's who AT&T is, and that happened on the 6th. So we're going to say on the 16th, let's say. It says 6 on the bank statement. I should think it should have been the 16th. So I'm going to go with that. And it's E. And then the vendor's going to be A, T, and T. I'm not sure if you need spaces there or not. Put a space. But in any case, tab, quick add, vendor, and it's going to be for 410. And then a new account, drop down, and something like the telephone. That would make sense. Telephone. That's the one we want. AT&T has been added. Next one we're going to have to add is Edison. That's the utilities company. That's who we pay for the electric in our business. So we'll go back over here and we're going to say Edison on the 17th. E, and we'll just type in Edison Electric. Tab. New company, we're going to quickly add it, and it's going to be a vendor once again. And this will be for $5.98. And we'll select our drop down and see Edison, that's our utilities. Utilities. That looks like the one. Okay. And enter. And we'll keep that. Next item we're going to have is going to be Adam. These two are our employees. So we're not going to get into payroll here. Our assumption is that we have an outside payroll service that's helping us to process the payroll. This is the net check that came out of our account, and therefore that's what we're going to put in the system at this time. So we'll do that. That's how we're doing this on the cash basis. We're not going to get into details of payroll. We'll talk about that in another course. So we'll go up to here to 131, and this is going to be an E again. Adam Hamilton, tab, quick add, and this one we could set up as an employee. They're actually an employee, even though we're not using the QuickBooks employee. If you set them up as a vendor, probably wouldn't hurt, given the fact that we're not processing the payroll. So I'm going to set up as an employee and OK, and then we're going to say 3539, and the amount is going to be payroll. Well, I should select the drop down. Payroll expense. That's the one we want. Payroll expense. Now again, payroll expense is not something you typically are just going to write a check unless you have a system set up, and we're not going to get into the different types of payroll systems, but we're just going to enter it here because that would be the net check that would be taken out of our checking account. Okay, 331 E. Same for the other employee, which was Erica. Erica Robertson. And then I'm not sure that's spelled right. Okay, Robertson. And then tab, quick add, employee again. and OK, OK, and then we're going to say 630, and this is going to be payroll. Payroll expense. Okay, so once again, that will be populated next month, when we pay these same individuals. It'll be a lot easier because these vendors will be set up. Not only that, but QuickBooks will memorize part of the transaction, making the process much faster. So then we have one more item down here, so let's cross these out. And that's going to be for the bank service charge. Bank service charge 150. So if I go back over here, I'm not sure exactly what they're charging us for, but whatever, we're going to have to put it in there. So we got the 131, let's say 013120, and that's going to be E as well. And we could put the bank. I'm just going to keep it without a vendor, and we're just going to say 150, and that's going to be a bank service charge. Which again, I probably should hit the drop down. So bank service charge is going to be typically a bank service charge set up by QuickBooks with each kind of industry account. So these chart of accounts set up already for us, given the industry we picked. Most of these things that we put in there, as other than the cost of goods sold item, will be in just about any industry we pick. Utilities, the phone bill, insurance, and that's, again, the nice thing about the business files. They're standardized because all businesses have a similar goal, which is revenue generation. So they have similar categories to help us to group information for that goal or to track how we're doing with it. So we're going to say yes, and let's take a look at our reports so far. We're going to go to the reports drop down, company and financial. We'll take a look first at the balance sheet, changing the dates up top from the customized reports area to 01/01/20 to 12/31/20, and OK. And then here's our checking account. Here's our equity information. Notice net income has changed on the equity information because that's linking up to the profit and loss. If we go to our check register, our checking account, we'll see our transactions now. They all have the check number of E that we just entered. Our deposits were in there prior to this, in the last presentation. And then we have checks. They're all in there by check, giving us the name, giving us the other account that we hit. These are typically going to be income statement accounts as we entered this data. If we double click on any of these checks, we will then go to a check, not to the check register, but to an actual check. But this is the same data that we entered into the check register. Closing this back out and closing this back out. And then go into the reports up top, go into the company and financial. We're going to take a look at this time at the profit and loss standard. Date range 01/01/20 to 12/31/20. So here we have the sales we entered last time, then all the expenses. We've got the cost of goods sold expense, and then all the kind of normal expenses that we would expect: bank service charge, insurance, payroll, postage, rental, telephone, and utility. It's an order note as it goes into the expense category by then alphabetical order within that order. If you want to change that kind of ordering, you'd have to use account numbers typically. So we won't get into that. Just be aware. That's why bank service charges is up top, even though it doesn't seem very important or relevant compared to the other numbers that we would have. If we double click on any of these, we'll get to the checks that were written. And again, if we double click on the checks, we'll get back to those check items. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info.